Here. Almost. All right. I'm pretty sure we're here. Welcome.
Yay! Welcome to Death Clam Games.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, today we're talking about, once again, we're making a game in RPG Maker MV, Night at Cloudy Bay. And today we're talking about how we can increase empathy for characters and emotions through our NPCs and their dialogue.
Some kind of things that might make you care about an NPC. And I guess even to start off, we were even going to talk about like what an NPC is.
And ones that are memorable to us.
And then ones that we find memorable. And then we'll just, go where the discussion leads us after that.
It feels like it's more than just narrative because they have, characteristics and ways they behave and things like that. So I'm going to go change the music real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'll be right back.
And the aim also, I guess, and we're discussing all of this with the aim to make our game better. Right. Make the NPCs in our game
meaningful. There's not necessarily
something that you care about.
RPG Maker MV isn't necessarily the most robust system. It's great, but it's pretty simple.
It's pretty, So, I mean, there's limitations, but you can do a lot.
Nothing bad about it at all. It's really, really cool. But also, it's a little bit more simple, and that means that a lot of the control we get over what happens and how players feel about the game is going to be through dialogue.
Yeah, through like text boxes.
Right.
Yeah, I think just by the nature of the system itself, which I like a lot. I haven't tried any, I bought this one, RPG Maker MV this winter because it was on sale for like $20 and I'd always kind of just wanted to try it. And I actually took to it really well. It was kind of what I've always been looking for because I like to make the game and the mechanics without thinking too much about, making art assets is a whole like other aspect of games that like could be just a full-time thing. Like you could just make art assets, for games. So it's nice not to have to worry about that stuff. A lot of stuff is just built in. So I think that's helped me a lot. I mean, eventually I might go to, something more complex that I can do more complex things with. But for now, I think this has been pretty great.
Basically, it's like the old text adventures.
Yeah, it's like the old interactive fiction with graphics.
Which you and I both loved. I mean, there's some great ones. Like I do remember the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy one.
Yes.
Did you ever play that one? That one really
yes, I did. I think everyone did play that one back in the day. That one stood out because it was really good. The other one that stood out for me back in the day was Lurking Horror.
I'm just going to check our channel real quick since I'm not going in there. I just want to make sure things are going well.
Yeah, no problem. Make sure we actually have
chat up,
volume and stuff. We had last week we started and there we go. Hello. How are you?
Okay, good.
That's me testing the. All right, cool. All right, well, cool. We don't have
you
to
testing. I like
that
it.
was me testing. Just so we know we can hear a noise or whatever.
Right.
All right, cool. So I guess to start off with, let's talk about what makes an NPC. What even is the definition? Like the literal technical definition, if we want to get right into it.
Is in the name a non-player character.
It's literally someone that's not the player.
Right. Any character that's not the player.
Like, is there anything else we need to add to that? Because I remember...
Well, I guess maybe my question is this.
Okay.
Do party members count? Or are you controlling them? Like...
Right. Do party members count as, like, player characters?
For example, in any Final Fantasy.
Yes,
like, you're playing a character, but you're also semi-controlling the other characters as well. Right? At least in the overworld, or when there's a battle.
I'd say something like Final Fantasy is... I don't even think you have, like, a character. Actually, you're just controlling certain characters sometimes. So, in a way, I guess those all would be... I would count those as player characters.
Okay.
I would count even players in your party as... If you get to choose their actions, then they're player characters.
Sorry, we get to have the audio of the cat.
I don't think that Mike will pick that up.
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Who knows? We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out the cat.
So yeah, nailing it down. I guess anybody whose role you're not ever taking would be
who you don't get to choose their actions
an NPC.
Ever. Who act on their own internal logic. I would call those non-player characters.
Got it.
So I think with that in mind, let's think of some maybe non-player characters that we liked, and were especially memorable. You know, we even talked about this a little before the stream, and one of the ones that came up. Sorry, go ahead.
Also, just real quick, spoiler warning: if we talk about some of these games and NPCs that we've run across, there's gonna be. I mean, I don't think we're talking about anything brand new, though.
We're not talking about brand new games. I'd say if we're going to talk about any games, we might give away something. But the games are probably 5 years old at least. Most of the games we talk about. If we talk about a new game, I'll think about it. I'll try not to give away story stuff too much.
Like if we talked about like the JoJo game, that could be tricky.
Right.
So I guess there's a lot of story stuff in there.
So it's sort of a vague spoiler warning, but I mean, I can just imagine the kind of... I think we're going to not talk about, like, plot points, but more just, like, the NPCs that we, like, connected with.
Right.
But, yeah, so watch out. You never know.
You never know.
Go ahead. Anyway, the one that came up was the Skyrim guard.
Actually, a couple of the Skyrim guards.
Right. They were very memorable to me. Like, when I first thought NPCs, they were some of the first that just popped into my mind. Because literally, I guess I even have this vivid memory, and I didn't even play, Oblivion very much, or Skyrim.
Right.
I barely played them. I actually didn't necessarily like the game, but I will always remember the guard coming up to me in the middle of the woods after I'd stolen something in town. Like,
and you're way the hell away. Like,
I'm off in the woods.
You're not even thinking about this anymore. That was long, long ago, and here this guard comes.
Halt, citizen, right?
Yeah.
And, like, that was very memorable. Like, I still remember him just sort of trucking. I was like, what is this guy doing? I remember coming up to me. And they all look weird, too. Right. I have to say, part of the thing about the NPCs for Oblivion was they were all, like... It was a weird Uncanny Valley situation.
They did all look a little weird. They were kind of hyper-real in some ways.
In some
but
ways.
Also a little bit off in, like, their repetition. I guess it's how I would feel if I were... You know, you'll see shows where the main character is suddenly transported to some weird dream world or something like that.
It felt like a dream world. Maybe that was part of the draw of the game. But so I remember him as an NPC that was really vivid in my mind.
And the take an arrow to the knee guy.
Yeah.
Was always memorable. But are they memorable in the way? Did you have an emotional connection?
That's the question,
them,
right?
Or are they just memorable because they were like glitchy in some way?
Because they were weird. So I would say that
the game.
Weirdly, the Skyrim NPCs, so I remember them. They're memorable to me, but I don't feel especially emotional towards those guys. I don't feel like connected to them. Like I wasn't invested in their story in any way. It was just kind of funny.
Right.
It was kind of like...
See, and that's fine. There's not a problem with that.
Right.
But we don't really control that aspect. That's going to be how people take the game, what they think is memorable
honestly,
that way. I think that's out of our hands, that style.
I don't necessarily want our NPCs to be memorable because they were just weird and funny. Like the Far Cry guy, we watched a talk by the Far Cry NPC guy, which actually, I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, I didn't think it actually worked. Like he explained how the NPCs were created, and he brought up these press clippings of people that really thought they were funny, but it was always because they said some weird thing, you know, that didn't even really make sense in the current...
What they never addressed is that these NPCs ultimately just start saying the same thing over and over if they're spoken to unprompted, I think was the issue. When they are just speaking on their own, unprompted, without player interaction...
They call them barks.
Barks. I don't like the barks. I think that takes me out of the world. I don't know that it can be done well.
It's not really emotional. All you hear is like someone says something... And usually what you see as you're walking through the world, or like, I would say Far Cry was an example of that. You hear like the guard be like, I'd like to go get some chickens for dinner, right?
Yeah. But by the fifth time you walk by, you're like, just go get the damn chickens already, please.
I mean, that's cool. You know, you're trying to create flavor. You're trying to make him seem like a person, but there's no reason for me to care.
Right.
I don't care one way or another why this guy is getting chicken or not getting chicken, or if he had a fight with his wife or whatever. There's no emotional investment there either. I mean, like, so
what
I
creates
guess
the emotional investment?
Any game,
here's
let's
the one
think about
that sticks out to me
gotcha.
as like actual emotional investment, like hardcore emotional investment, is Kenny from The Walking Dead.
Right. We never had any control. He is an NPC. We never had any control over his actions.
No, we didn't have control over Kenny's actions. We only had control over the dialogue and what we did regarding him. Like whether or not we protected his kid or whether or not we sided with him in an argument.
Okay, yeah.
But we didn't control Kenny. His reactions were written in based on our status and what we said. So I had a huge emotional reaction to one of the storylines with Kenny.
Right, because of it being built up throughout the whole game. We won't get into specifics, but yeah. So it was built up the whole game. You got to build. Maybe that was part of the aspects. You built a relationship with the NPC.
Over time. And that was a longer relationship, too, because we traveled side by side for a while.
Yeah, he followed with you. You actually had conversations. Even if the conversations were scripted by... So these were all authorial, I guess you would say.
Yeah, authorial. And it was linear.
Yeah, you didn't necessarily get a lot of choice, but you did get you got a little bit of choice in the kind of direction you were going with the conversations, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if it changed the story that much.
It didn't change the events, but it would change who you took with you, which is essentially dialogue trees. Yeah. Some close off. Some of the dialogue trees close off as options, and other ones open up.
Right.
But basically, that's all you're affecting is which chapter of the choose your own adventure.
And I say it was more like a main trunk of a story that things came off of and rejoined.
The main events were still going to take place.
Were going to
no
happen.
matter what. You couldn't alter that. But if you
that
were there with one character or another.
Yes. It was sort of depends on what lines they would say maybe.
Yeah.
But that's funny. So you didn't have a lot of power even in the world to change the story, but it didn't matter. You still developed an emotional connection with Kenny.
I guess my emotional connection came from the fact that I couldn't change what he said, that I couldn't change his actions. I had to say what I felt, and I had to go my way, no matter what, because that's what I felt. That's what I needed, and it was too bad I couldn't change his mind and get him to come my way with me. I think the fact that I couldn't alter him was what made it emotional for me.
Okay. Yeah, all right. And he had his own life, but... Okay, I'd say there was another aspect. So he had his own life and stuff, but so do those, Far Cry NPCs. I don't think that's the actual... Them
having their own big lives, I don't know, makes a difference because of that, yeah.
But you still... the aspect was... what I was trying to get to is that the aspect was that you built over time...
Yes.
A connection.
Time is the difference. Which is interesting because in Night at Cloudy Bay, the RPG we're making, the entire... mechanic is time of the whole game. Basically, it's searching for things and you have a certain amount of time. Do I need to
I think you have to let the kid know.
I'll be right back.
That's more important right now than the stream, yeah.
In our favor.
I think it could work in our favor somehow. I guess I see, at least in that example with Kenny, let's think about some more examples, but the example with Kenny in The Walking Dead, I feel like that example happened because we were allowed to develop a relationship, but also something we're not going to have is maybe a pre-made author story. Maybe we will. Maybe we have to think about that for the first game. I guess right now I do.
I have another maybe a little bit weird example.
All right, yeah, let's hear it.
Of a time that I had a really huge emotional reaction based on an NPC.
Okay.
And it's embarrassing.
Oh gosh. All right, let's hear it.
And it's weird.
Even better. Embarrassing and weird.
Not the direction you're thinking, although I have another one now that I think of it.
Okay, I got you.
Remind me to talk about my romantic relationship with Garrus.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
But actually, I don't even need to.
Yeah,
that's it.
You had a romantic relationship with Garrus.
Yeah,
from,
obviously.
Just to be specific, from Mass Effect. Right.
But the other one that I was going to bring up that's embarrassing and weird is the Midas fish in Fortnite.
Oh, this is really weird. Yeah, I'd forgotten about this. So we had this thing.
Would you consider the Midas fish an NPC?
This is hard to say. So in Fortnite last season, there was a fishing thing.
A challenge.
You had to get this fish called the Midas fish. It was
you could only get it fishing in a particular spot
with a particular
fishing pole. And
it was super rare.
The chance of getting it was
very rare. And Loren had really wanted to get it. Now, now that's odd because I don't know if you had an emotional connection to the fish's personality or character, but you did actually have an emotional connection to.
Unless you considered its rarity, the character, or its elusiveness.
So that's an
I
aspect
think was
of
maybe
it,
part of its character for me.
Right. So the emotional thing happened because you were upset when I just sort of half-assed was wandering around and just
I'd been fishing.
caught
I
the Midas
literally
fish
caught
just out of my
over
just
10,000 fish.
randomly. I just come in, catch the Midas. She's still mad about it, right? And I didn't even mean to, right? But it causes like you weren't expecting it either, though.
No one was expecting it.
Reaction.
No.
Right.
No, I didn't expect to feel emotional about that. Seriously, I didn't. I thought it was a stupid fish in a stupid game, and it didn't matter. And when I saw him caught that
it's
fish,
because you put a lot of work into it, though.
Fish. When I saw him catch that fish, I was so upset. It just hurt. I felt betrayed. Oh my goodness. I know that's ridiculous, but that means the game did something right there.
Okay, here's another. Then you saying that, and then we're talking about Kenny. It's bringing me to this thought right here: is that part of creating emotional investment is that people do actually have to invest. Like you had invested all of this time into trying to catch the Midas fish, right?
Time is key in both of those, isn't it?
Yeah, it is an actual key. It looks like time is a big one here in the NPC. So somehow you have to have the characters be able to spend an amount of time with the characters somehow. Like they have to be in the same place. They have to be recurring. Like you have to see them again and again, maybe. If you just talk to them once, I don't think you're going to get that emotional investment out of the characters.
Right.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, can we think of any NPCs that we've had emotional reactions to that we've had limited interaction with?
I'm still trying to come up with some that I've actually felt emotionally invested in. I think it's rare. See, here's what I'm saying. It's actually hard for me to come up with examples of NPCs that I've felt emotionally invested with. A lot of them, and a lot of times in games, I just don't. And funny that when I thought, when I was thinking back to it, it's something I'm trying to create. You think I would have examples of this, but like, I kind of have a block. Like I'm kind of like.
This is your first like RPG though too.
Yeah.
I mean,
right,
everything else
true.
you've made has been abstract as far as game design, right?
No, but
Have
I'm
you
just
done anything
thinking
with narrative
personally.
before?
Well, yeah. I've done a lot of like storytelling stuff. Maybe not specifically
games.
with an RPG format.
Okay.
Although when I was younger, I made like some RPGs, just homebrew stuff, but not computer RPGs, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
Got it.
Anyway, but yeah, what was I even talking about?
Sorry.
It doesn't matter. That's fine. I don't remember what I was talking about, but I am hooking onto this idea of time and recurring interactions. And here's what I'm also thinking is that they don't it can't be the same thing. They can't just say the same thing every time. I think that's really immersion breaking for NPCs for me, and why I haven't really have a lot. Oh, that's what I was talking about. I don't have a lot of examples of good NPCs where I've like felt like I care about you, NPC. Although, okay, the last game I played a little bit, I'm not going to say I cared, but this
That'd be going too far.
Well, no, I mean like NPC, but when I was playing Stone Shard, I don't know, it's this maybe old school. Hardcore RPG, kind of like Tales of Majayal or something, but kind of better. I feel like they have more. I've been into it. I go back and forth on it.
But it's like more brutal.
Yeah, it's more brutal. I mean, you can die to like, which is what I like. I like that you can die to like low level enemies. It's like no enemy is, taken lightly. And I feel like that same thing in Dark Souls. That's what I liked about that too. But anyway, that's different. Although maybe I'll talk about the NPCs there too, actually, because now it's starting to come back to me. So anyway, though. The guys in the town, there's a few of the NPCs. I'm not going to say I emotionally connect, but I do feel like I have gotten to know. Like the guy who, sells, the guy who sells at the shop, who's always trying to kind of screw you. The tailor guy is always rude. The herb guy is kind of a hippie guy. Like you do kind of get, because I've gone back and forth to the town, it's your base of operations. I've come back there over and over again. I guess I have gotten to know the NPCs there. And somehow they're interesting enough where I don't get totally tired of them.
Right. I guess the other one for me, like with Stardew, there's obviously it's all NPCs.
Oh yeah, there's
but I was trying to think of something outside of the time issue. Obviously, you're spending time with them. You see them for years.
Yeah, so
years,
is that again?
and you're interacting with them.
So do you feel that way towards some of those?
There's a couple though that you don't have a lot of interactions with.
Okay.
And I think you do kind of get to build a little bit of rapport with them by hearing about them from other NPCs.
Oh, that's a really
like the
good
wizard
point.
will tell you that like the witch is his ex-wife.
Gotcha.
Right? So you get these like little stories that come out and make them feel
real. But it's
real.
about relations. So the people seem more real because they have relationships.
Are relating to each other and
with
they tell
other
you
people.
about it. They're like, oh, I can't wait to see so-and-so, you know, after the fair, you know.
Okay, and they're excited to see this person. Or
right.
that guy scares me or whatever.
So even though you're having less interaction with a particular NPC, they're still part of your environment. You're hearing about them.
I like that. That's a really cool, like, it goes along with the sort of making connections and spending time. I like the idea that they have connections with other NPCs.
Right.
And they talk, and you know what? That suddenly is like really hitting me like a lightning bolt. Like, what do people talk about in the world? They talk about other people.
What do people look at? They look at other people. People watching is huge.
It's like
you know?
what we do.
Like we're all quarantined and fucking going
Right.
nuts, right? Because we're desperate to socialize.
Right.
So that's what we need to create is that social bubble.
So we create like a social framework or network or web of, relationships.
They need to have relationships to each other, I think, all the NPCs, that we might not even see as a player.
But of course they talk to each other about people. They talk to us
and
about
things
people.
In the environment should support that story.
Right. All right, that's a really good one. I feel like that's a kind of a cool breakthrough.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to think of, I'm trying to still think of another, I was going to talk about Dark Souls, where actually those NPCs were really good. The ones like, I don't know if you ever played, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking of Dark Souls as much as I was Demon Souls, which I don't know if anybody alive today has still played Demon Souls. But Dark Souls had a lot of that too. They had the people that were at campfires. They each had their own mysterious personality. I was interested in them. I'm not going to say any struck me as like maybe especially memorable. Well, no, there is. I mean, the meme guy that you hear about when you hear about Dark Souls, the sun guy. You know, the guy that worships the sun, you know.
Tell me more.
I can't remember.
What does he say? What's his line?
His line is like, I can't remember. It's a meme. I'll look it up later. Something like, worship. Today's a good day to worship the sun god or some shit, you know.
Oh.
I can't remember what
that brought up in my mind the
So maybe it doesn't work.
A game
that
we
way.
haven't played that I think would be fun or we should look into or something think about is Shadows of Mordor.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot about this game now as far as like on videos about emergent gameplay and stuff.
Right. And
just
I know
because
our game doesn't have combat, but
right.
But I think there might still be something to learn from there anyway.
Yeah, apparently they have this Nemesis System that allows you to, and once again, and here we go, the Nemesis System is like them. Your enemies remember you. Like if you injure them in some way, they're next time you see them, they're injured that way.
Right. Yeah.
So
that means
the whole thing is you build a relationship over time once again, and then they become like a arch enemy, you know, which is an emotional connection. That actually, apparently, I haven't played the game, but apparently it does bring those emotional connections for people. Mm-hmm.
I think what we're seeing over and over again is that these connections are happening two ways. It makes sense. It's the same way you would increase robustness in any system, which is that a smaller environment with more possible interactions is gonna. So everybody has to have like a lot of dialogue options, but you're in a smaller environment and there's lots of relatability.
And there's lots of relatability as far as like when you have certain dialogue option with one person, you know, it changes the other options that are like available from other people. Like maybe if you talk to this person and they like you, somebody else is not going to like you.
We should be closing off dialogue trees, opening new ones. And that, I think our biggest thing with this game is going to be writing a bunch of dialogue, which amazingly, you're super good at.
Yeah, right. I can just write dialogue.
You're great at writing dialogue. I can't even believe it. That's the most fantastic thing ever. I don't know how you do it, but like you write dialogue that's believable, funny, has personality. I'm going
I
to
think
have
that's
to
what needs to happen.
correct a little bit of grammar here and there.
Oh, the grammar's... But here's the deal.
I want to do super light editing. Like, barely
People don't speak with correct grammar.
No, I know. But just like when you say Y-O-U-R instead of Y-O-U''R-E, I can't handle it. So.
Oh, little things like that, yeah. We don't need to change like the necessarily word order because I think we need to let people have bad grammar in dialogue.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In dialogue, but not in like spelling, I guess.
Yeah,
I at least need to correct the...
Yeah, the spelling can be correct.
Unless it's supposed to. Here's the thing:
Think
if
of
you want to use wrong spelling to convey like an accent or something like that,
do it intentionally.
It should be intentional, and that means the rest of it has to be perfect.
Okay, no, that's fine. I hear you. I was thinking of somebody like Urban Welsh or whatever.
Right, exactly. You know? But that's really intentional, and that
and
means the rest of it has to be clean. You know.
All right. Where were we at here on that discussion?
I think we solved it.
Well, let's sum up what we've come to. I don't
obviously,
think we've solved it, everyone.
We've laid out our game plan.
Yeah, we laid out an idea of a way to go forward, which is this. I guess to summarize the ideas that we've come up with here is that NPC, like building emotional connection with NPC is sort of a function, or would we call it a factor of time? What's the mathematical?
It's a factor of time.
Right, where the more time you spend with an NPC, I think the more you'll just connect with them.
Right.
But I think besides that, it's that they have relationships with other NPCs.
Yes.
They have to seem like an entity that lives on its own.
Right. We have to build a little world here.
Right.
And I think that's just going to take talking a lot about it.
Yeah, I think so too.
How these people relate to each other, what they're doing there. And one other thing, I think we need to think of Cloudy Bay. Once again, that's the title of the game, is Night in Cloudy Bay.
Yes.
It's a character too.
Yeah. The town itself is a character that you learn about.
Right. So what does it mean? What's its feel? What's its vibe? Yeah. What does it say? And how does it relate to all of these NPCs as well?
And why are they in this environment in the first place? Like, what are they doing here?
Right.
Are they here for any kind of reason? Yeah. So
I kind of think they should be. We're there for a reason, right? I think that's going to be the emotional connection that we can form, is that like we're going to find relations between their reason for being there and ours.
Right. And have interesting interactions with them based on the relationships that we find.
Because we play as an outsider coming in and exploring the world. And
so that sense of discovery is part of it. Is like you're discovering the social landscape also. Because if there isn't that social landscape or people watching aspect to something like this, especially because this game doesn't have combat.
Right.
You know, this isn't a fighting game. So if it doesn't have that sort of people watching aspect, I think we're not going to care about the NPCs at all.
Right. I think that does mean giving us a little bit more time.
And I think it also means, like you said, the NPCs you do first meet are going to be talking about everyone else in the town.
Yes. We need to think of how every NPC thinks about the others.
And, you know,
what their relationship is. And why they're in the town.
And there's some, you know, and they each have to have their own personality in the form, like, the way that the mechanics interact. For instance, if someone we want to convey that they're shy or whatever, then maybe you have to talk to them 5 times before they even really talk to you.
Right.
Maybe they talk to you if they see you talking to somebody else that they trust.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you've already met somebody, then they can say, oh, I trust you now. Maybe they never talk to you because you talked to, like, their bully or something and you were friendly with them.
Right.
You know? And it's that kind of stuff that, like, if we have that kind of reaction, then I think you will start caring about the characters and maybe even wanting to go back and find out more about the characters. Because that's the thing right now. You know, we talked about in our last video, volition, you know, and autonomy. You know, people want to feel like they're making a difference in the world. And I think the NPCs are part of that.
I think so too. I think how we relate to them helps us feel like we're making a difference in the world, because that's the part of the story we're uncovering.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I think worked really well with Gone Home, in which we didn't have any NPCs.
It's funny because the NPCs were there in their effect on the, like, you could tell that they'd lived in the house. Right. The NPCs weren't actually there, but they were actually kind of there.
You're exploring an empty house. It's your parents' house. It's your family's house, but it's empty at the time, and you're looking through it. And through those actions, just picking up and looking at objects, the story unfolds.
Well, that's a really good point. I'm really glad you brought that up because, yeah, now that I think about it, Gone Home actually had NPCs. You didn't see them.
Right. Or was the environment a single NPC?
In fact, you cared about those NPCs, and I actually did. I cared about her situation.
I cared about our little sister.
And number one is
For
because
sure.
over time...
Like, I think we were there to realize her story.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. They told her story without her even being there. So that's really interesting. Like, over time, you just got to know these people.
Yeah.
Through their objects.
Right.
So
through
that
the
almost
letters
brings back that
through
relational
their clothes
aspect.
and through the pictures that they put on their walls, we learn about the whole story without ever interacting with another person.
So we didn't even have to interact with the person themselves to actually end up caring about someone we actually never met in game.
Wow, and honestly, that was a super emotional game for me. I played it.
Right.
Well, I played it once, and then I watched you play it.
Right, it's a good one. Yeah,
and tried to not affect how you did it. And it
Which
did.
drove her crazy.
It did. I'm like, oh my god. But I think I was pretty good though. Anyway,
yeah, you were,
about
actually.
It was interesting. You uncovered it in a different order than me, although it's fairly linear. There's some things that I found that you didn't find.
Right.
I'm obviously like a super completist.
Yeah, and I'm not a completist.
You're not.
Not even at all. If I just want to keep moving, I just do it. I don't care if I miss stuff. It doesn't bother me at all. Loren, on the other hand, is like almost crazy obsessed with making sure she finds everything. And that's fine. To me, that just doesn't seem as fun.
I didn't say it was fun, Sean.
Right, gotcha.
I'm just compelled.
Compelled, yeah. Gotcha, I understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, I like where we've gone.
One might say obsessively compelled.
One might say. Obsessively, compulsively, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, well...
I think we have a goal here. I think we have an aim, but that means what we need to do going forward is just be talking about Cloudy Bay. Like we talked about Tales of Terror.
Like it's just a real place. Like, why is someone there? In fact, we should really be like going through each of the characters. As you play tested a little more, and it's kind of nice. I didn't realize this was going to be the case, but I thought, if you play tested it once, then I would never be able to have you play test it again because you'd sort of like know secrets and stuff. But that's not actually ending up to be the case. Like, you discover something new each time so far.
First of all, I'm looking for new things each time. That's just how I'm going to be playing it.
Right.
I want to try as much as I can mentally to like wipe my slate clean before I play it each time. I know that that's not possible, but I can still go at it with that intent.
Yeah. And it is revealing, different things I need to do each time. So it's funny. It really is the same as playtesting the board game. I did a tabletop board game, with my brother, and the same process is there. People have to play it, and then you see what happens to them.
Right.
I had this. It was really funny. Like already, I had this. It's like a setup, like cutscene thing. It's in one of these tiles, and so Loren just goes right around it. I didn't even realize you could go around it, but Loren found a way to go around it and didn't get the explanatory cutscene or whatever.
I got no cutscene. I got no intro to the game. Mm-hmm. But if anybody's gonna walk around it the weird direction on accident,
good. Now I know. Now I know to fix it.
Exactly.
So I like that kind of stuff in playtesting. I want Loren to destroy it. I want to be able to like.
I don't want to destroy
the game. Well, you have to though, because I want to make the game
but I don't
where
want to destroy it. I don't like
can't.
Destroying things.
Well, playtesting.
Pineapples.
Hey, welcome, Samos. How you doing?
Pineapples in flight.
We were talking.
Afternoon delight. Sorry.
Thank you. Off topic, Loren.
Okay.
Off topic.
Welcome, Samos.
Yeah, welcome. How you doing? What were we talking about? We're even kind of wrapping it up a little bit, but
and then you got here, so
if you have any stuff,
let's say hi.
Yeah, for sure. And we were talking about NPCs, and we were asking like,
I do want to know,
is there a game you remember where you had like an emotional connection to an NPC? Is there like something that sticks out where like
it doesn't have to be positive?
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be positive. You could have hated them.
Just like something that sticks in your mind now.
Yeah, that's our basic discussion today because we found out some stuff that like. I think going forward is going to help us a lot with our game.
I'm excited about it. I have to say, the playtesting. I've playtested Night at Cloudy Bay twice now.
Right.
So just the tip of the iceberg. However, both times you've asked me if I liked it, what didn't work, what did work, and what I haven't brought up except until today, and I want to reiterate, your dialogue is incredible. It feels so natural to me.
Yeah, okay,
That's
good.
a joy. That's a part I want to go back to. I feel like
you want to keep experiencing the dialogue.
Option is a fun little exciting thing. I don't think maybe we're making enough of it, honestly.
Oh, yeah, because, well, right now, here's the deal. I think once I get the game done, I can start adding stuff like more dialogue options.
Right.
And the game's pretty much done, actually.
The world is done. The game's complete. It needs to get the weird little glitches sorted out.
Yeah,
like,
there's a bunch of weird little things. I have to
go in the guard tower door where it looks like the door is.
She tried to go in a different door. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of, it's just like quality of life, like, I guess I would say polishing type stuff is still there. So I may maybe even have to spend another, month on it. I guess this month, since we're going to be just, broke anyway, why not? Might as well just spend this month.
We've got a month until we get
polishing,
money.
The deal. And so we'll just polish this up and see.
Right. Exactly.
And then we'll try to put it out there eventually.
And writing. Dialogue.
Yeah, I guess there does need to be more, responsive dialogue. Like, I think there needs to be, like, a lot of these are made with, like, conditional statements. So there needs to be a lot more like, oh, you talk to them, there's a new option here. And maybe even more like options, like, what do you want to talk about? And give you a list or something.
That means we need to come up with a story for this town. You and I need to talk about who the characters are.
Why the town's even there. Like, what its history is. Why the town's even there.
Like, and I don't think that's something you can just go straight into the game and put in right now. I think we need to do some, like...
Yeah. No, I agree.
Structural narrative stuff.
Anyway, yeah. No, I agree. So that's kind of where we're at with the game. We're having a pretty good time. Structural narrative stuff. What does that mean?
I don't know. The nuts of the operation or something.
The real important. Fuck yeah. So anyway, yeah. But, so that's where we got to with that. I'm pretty excited about it. I have like 2 pages of notes that I have to implement. It's kind of funny because I thought, oh, I'm almost done, right?
And then I played it.
And then I played it, and I was like, I'm not even close to done.
I didn't even have to say anything. I didn't even have to, like, give feedback on how I felt about the thing. It was just, like, apparent.
Immediately obvious.
As I was doing it, shit, we need to fix that. That's nice, though.
It is nice.
That's so much better to have that be the issue and not, I don't know, I just don't feel anything from it. Because that's not the case. I do feel like, okay, I'm going to say, here's another non-player character that I've had an emotional response to.
Okay, let's hear it.
The little girl in the fountain.
Okay.
In Night in Cloudy Bay.
Okay.
She has an emotional effect on me. That little brat.
Mm-hmm. So you think she's a brat?
I think she's a snotty little brat.
She is, yeah.
There you go. Is she me?
I mean, I don't know, Loren.
Anyway, so I have an emotional reaction to her. But I kind of like her.
Gotcha. So there you go. You do have, it's sort of working.
Yeah.
And so repetition, I think, will also continue with that.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be more options so you're not just getting the same exact interaction every time. I think that's a big one, too. Oh, hey, by the way, Samos, if you ever want to, like, I do need more playtesting if you ever want to stream this. Basically, we need stream playtesting.
We need to be able to see you play the game.
I don't know. It was based off you.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually based... These are all inner states of me, actually.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, these are all, like, reflecting sort of different facets of
Sean really believes other people exist.
Right. Yeah, not really. Right?
Yeah. We're all just facets of his personality. Which could be true.
What if it is true, though?
It might be.
Yeah, no, I know. But, I mean, so there you go. That's kind of where we're at.
But yeah, Samuels, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, if you're interested in something like that, because I know you've been streaming here and there.
But we'd need to see you play it. But you've streamed before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you did a stream like that, you'd have a guaranteed 2 viewers.
Yeah.
It's a guaranteed 2 viewers. How can you pass that up? That's like
streaming
one of those.
And a game. Well, I hear you, but it might, because RPG Maker is not...
It's pretty light, yeah.
It would be like Minecraft. It would be like streaming like
less
Minecraft. Less than Minecraft.
Big time less.
There's not a lot of whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Just let us know.
Did you hear that?
Was there a meow, a cat?
The longest, saddest meow.
Yeah.
It was like...
anyone out there watching too that wants to, interested in playtesting or streaming a playtest. Basically, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that want to stream the super alpha version of the game. Maybe even laugh at it, pick it apart.
You don't have to stream it. You could record it and do a video with your phone and just
a video too, yeah. That's true too.
Put it on Discord or send it to us or something.
You don't even have to make it public if you don't want to. If you're like, I do not want to be, Anyway, but that's what we're thinking about.
Where can you download it?
Oh, you can't download it yet. I haven't.
We'll tell you when you can. We'll get you the game.
We'll get it to you.
We'll get it to you.
If you want it,
If you want to do it.
Maybe we will put it on Discord or something. Maybe it'll be like a channel where you can get a playtest version or something.
I'm not quite sure how we might have to email it to you. I don't know if we can have you download it from Discord or not. I'm not sure. We'll learn about that.
We don't know what we're doing, but we're learning, and that's what we're aiming towards. We're aiming toward playtests where people can stream it. Because I think then, because I have to actually, it's weird, like a game like this, I can't, notes aren't necessarily going to help me as much as like just seeing somebody and what they do in the world.
The last game you made, the way you did it, the way we did this was we went to different game conventions and people played it. Sean demoed the game.
They literally played the game.
And they played it, and he did that thousands of times.
Right.
And he watched people play the game.
Right.
And now, that's not as possible anymore.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to a game convention now.
Playtesting during a pandemic is a different challenge.
Right. But anyway, yeah, if you're interested in something like that, we'll put something up on Discord eventually. I guess I better figure that out. Sounds like, where do I download it? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
We'll figure that out when the game is done. And here's the game plan. We're making 3 games, actually. Game 1 is this game. It's basically a proof of concept. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's basically done right now. We just need to clean it up.
Right.
Game 2 is going to be all these narrative things now that we're thinking about, and all these higher concept ideas we're going to try to be putting into Game 2, and also thinking about playtesting a whole lot more, I think. On a wider scale.
Samo says, okay, I guess you're leaving because you're awful human beings, so I shall say goodnight. Shall you walk the plane to the earth in your own mind and light become the darkness? Ciao.
That's dramatic.
That's a very dramatic goodbye. I mean, see you later, maybe tomorrow?
Oh,
see
you
maybe tomorrow, dude.
If you're still here, or you still hear me, we
right.
just watched a movie called The Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was pretty good.
I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it, too.
We both really enjoyed it. But your goodbye here just kind of reminds me of one of Willem Dafoe's soliloquies.
He had a big soliloquy where he really went off.
This was kind of the style, so anyway made me think of it.
You should watch it so we can all talk about it.
I mean, you don't have to, but we could talk about it if you did.
No, you're required, actually. Sorry. Loren says you're not have to, but we will, we'll come over there. Don't make us come over there.
I don't think we can.
We can't even go there.
I don't think they let Americans anywhere.
Anyway, good vibes till next time, man.
Yeah, we are going to go.
We are going to do another stream tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Come by.
Who knows what we're going to do? It depends on what we talk about today. Maybe we'll do another talk show, or maybe we'll just play Fortnite and chill.